So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of OTalakayan. Today is June 15, Monday, 4:30 p.m. Diba? May orientation na tayo to date and time. So, welcome to OTalakayan. OTalakayan is POT's first online program that tackles different issues and topics in OT practice and education. For the month of May and June, we're talking about telehealth. And this is the second to the last session that we're talking about telehealth. No? Next week, iba na ang mga pag-uusapan natin dito kasama ang ating mga very special guests. So, hello Arden, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Lee.
Thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure.
Today. How are you?
Doing great and looking forward sa OTalakayan natin today. Matagal
Okay.
na itong hinahanap ng kids ko.
Sure, I'm sure. So, Arden, baka pwede mong bigyan ng ating audience ng recap siguro. Ano ba yung nangyari last session?
Okay, so for a short recap, last Thursday, Janessa and Bernie shared their experiences in designing games and online activities using yung Canva, Boom Cards, and even Microsoft PowerPoint, and how we could use it during our telehealth session. Nakatuwa because we learned that we don't really have to be highly skilled sa mga graphic design and even in programming for us to create online interactive games for our clients. Sometimes we just have to be creative and we have to know the resources that we can use. And most of them are even free and very intuitive to use. So we learned a lot from that previous OTalakayan session.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you, Arden. So today's session, sabi nga sa title natin, parang telehealth, a group therapy via telehealth. No? I'm sure since the start of ECQ, probably marami na tayong practitioners started with individual sessions, so whether with kids, adolescents, or adults. Pero posible syempre mag-group therapy at yun ang i-discuss sa atin ng ating very special guest for today. So ipapakilala muna natin siya. Karen Anavaro, we call her Karen. She's been practicing for 19 years as a pediatric occupational therapist. So she's actually a consultant at the Able Center and Therapy Works. Karen is also the co-founder of Special Achievers. Follower ako nito. A non-government organization that helps children with disabilities reach their full potential by focusing on their strengths and passion. Yan. So, Karen has been into telehealth for about 3 months. And she's practicing this with kids 8 to 14 years old. No? Alam ko nga Karen is actually handling about, I think, 2 groups of kids na share niya sa atin later on. Okay, so hi Karen! Thanks for
For
joining
OTalakayan.
Ayan, so I'm sure napakadaming audience natin ang interested kasi syempre 'di ba bukod sa individual therapy we see kids benefiting from group therapy as well, no? So perhaps Arden, simulan na natin ang ating talakayan.
Okay, so Karen, thank you very much again for joining us today. So we'd like to start the discussion. We'd like to know, can you share with us what do you do during group therapy? Ano po ba yung nangyayari during a typical group therapy session?
Thank you for your question, Arden. Generally, we start with checking in with the kids talaga because that's one of the goal for the parents is to help the kids with emotional regulation. Lalo na when ECQ started. Like, I saw them right after the lockdown kasi di ba March 15, our first session was March 20. And some of my kids who have ADHD were like screaming on the screen, like, this is insane. This is so crazy. We can't go out. Like, so one of the things that I do in group therapy is to help them with emotional regulation. So as a therapist, I focus on attunement to give them really a space where they can be seen, where they can be heard, and it's safe for them to express what they're feeling. And so I usually begin with checking in with their emotions. How are they? How has their week been? And sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. Like the first session was like really just attunement for like 40 minutes because they just really have to share what they're what's going through, what's going on with their minds, what's going on with their lives. Also, there are also kids who doesn't want to share. We're just quiet, but I saw that they have their stuffed toys with them. And this is so weird because these are kids like 8 to 12 years old. So usually they don't like bring, I'm not used to them bringing their toys to therapy. And so I kind of sense that. And then so I asked everybody else to bring in their stuffed toys, and I talked to them using their stuffed toys. So okay, can you please introduce your stuffed toy to the class and tell us what the stuffed toy is saying? And that's when everything else came out. Because sometimes if they use the first person, so of course you want to protect your self image because kids 8 to 12, mga 8 to 14, so meron mga teens and preteens, they want to look cool in front of their peers, so they want to share. But if it's their stuff toy sharing, ayun na, lumalabas na I'm bored. It's okay because I can watch a lot of games, but I'm sad because I can't see my playmates. Lumalabas na their emotions, and we just sometimes we just have to give them that space to share it and express it and acknowledge it, and sometimes not even later pa yung do something about it. Another thing was it came out again when there was a lot of thing about the black movement, Black Lives Matter.
Mhm.
um yeah, we had we started the checking in, but we ended with like half of the session was just like checking in lang, checking in, because they're so affected by it that kulang yung, usually the checking in is 5 to 8 minutes, kulang yung time na yun eh. Like we just had to discuss it for 20 to 25 minutes because they just had to express na parang they are they just had to express that they can't understand it, they can't understand why it's happening. They had to say they had to express that they find Americans stupid. Well, this is what they're saying. And I just have to give them that space to be able to express their emotions and talk it out and discuss it amongst themselves. And then later on, but much later on, we did other projects to actually address that. And then that's when if they're okay, I move. Sometimes our session is just checking in. Lalo na, lalo na with a lot of things going on. Like we just really need time to express, acknowledge these emotions and all these weird things that's happening right now. But if they're okay and they're regulated, from checking in, we move to the activity proper. We usually do games, group works, or they present their projects. And then there's an insight phase, of course, when we talk about what they're feeling, how did they do that, what did they learn from the activity. And then the last part, I think is also important. So it gives them free time to talk because they really miss being with each other. Lalo na seeing other friends. And sometimes I tell, depende rin kasi, like with attunement, you just kind of feel it. When do they need it? When they don't need it? And I just tell the parents like towards the last 10 to 15 minutes of the session, because sometimes it's 1.5 hours for big kids eh. Please know that I'm just stepping out of the room and I just give them their space to be together, but I'm still there. It's just that they need to feel that it's their time to just hang out with their friends. So that's how our session usually go.
I see. Thank you. You know, I realize it's a lot similar to us, people who are working. Kasi, di ba, nung nag-ECQ, tapos siguro 2 weeks into that, nag-video conference, people who work, we don't go straight to work stuff eh. Parang kumustahan muna. No? Parang ganun kayo nag-start, no?
Yes,
Very,
kasi
very,
we really have to check in
yeah.
and kumustahan muna kung kamusta sila kasi ang raming-rami talagang nangyayari now, and sometimes the kids they can't cope right away or they need space where they can discuss
Yeah.
yeah, what they're feeling.
Yeah. And of course, we want our therapy time to be that safe space, no? Um,
Yes.
Karen, so what is your role as the therapist here? Pag sa
Usually,
group? Yeah.
yeah, usually in group therapy, I'm more of a facilitator. Like, because these are kids 8 to 14 years old, so they want their own independence. They are very creative. We're working on executive functions na, aside from social skills and work behaviors. And most of the kids that I see for group teletherapy, they are in regular school already. So they're pretty smart. We're just working on certain skills. And so I basically facilitate the session, and our session evolves from there. Like, siguro it's best if I can share the video.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm not at most of the time kasi 'di ba we find ourselves being the teacher and telling kids what to do. Here I just I follow. Here I'm more of a facilitator, which means I ask the questions and I help them sort it out. So this is a sample of the start of our session. I'll just share with you the first 5 minutes. Also, I ask permission from the parents to share this with you. Look at it for 5 minutes.
Then she would basically wait while recording this. Or maybe I must have started. I'm gonna use it against you one time. But we're talking about that in feelings. Right? Wait. But when you record this to your mom or dad, you should.
They're talking about they're helping their classmate. They're helping one of their classmates here kasi she's being bullied by her sister. And so, like I told you, diba, the first thing that we do is we check in. So this is what she said during the check-in part, that she's kind of she doesn't know what to do about her sister bullying her. So we asked the class to help her. So this is what her class saying.
Her, not threaten her. Just tell her like you have the recording and whatnot. If you keep on teasing, wait, she's always around. Okay, but it's okay. If she actually says that she won't tease you, wait till you need to see some proof. And then when she stops teasing you, don't mention that thing. But when she starts teasing you again, you can mention it or actually tell it to your mom already. Wait, I think I heard it. Wait, Sean. Yeah. I sure your sister's there because in case I don't know because she might be in the other room in her room with the stepsister. Or she might go out. I don't know where headphones on. I'm not using headphones. Or earphones. So far. Check the room if she's there or not. She's not there. Okay, she's checking. Now she's checking. It's pretty normal to get teased by your sibling. It's like my sister spat on my face 2 days ago. Spat on my face? Yeah. What did you do to her? In the doorway. She didn't understand me. I told her. Oh. She said, "Sis, can you do that?" Crossing out. I was like, "Please shut up." Then she just like went in front of me. She said, "I won't do anything. I say so to cafe." Oh my gosh. Okay. Dana, what did you do when she spat on your face? So that's my face. That's obviously the first thing to do. When someone spits on your face. And what did you do any and did you talk to her after? Did you good job. Wow, good for you. You didn't do, you didn't do anything after that? I wow. Genuinely a big face. Wow, good. Wow, that was self-control. Screaming at your sibling. Like when I'm just reading my books and my brother won't shut up like you never play with me. Shut up. Stay. Oh, the sister's with you. No, he's outside. He knows that I'm basically screaming what I say. The ball in your room. And said, yeah. That's that. But if you have I think it's a good idea, Sean. Tell your sister what you feel. We have a formula. Sean, I can't say Yeah, it's just your question, which is better, dogs or cats? Dogs.
Then we have Sean first, Darla, and Aaron. So we can't see your face. Can you please move your camera so we can see your face? You're so near the camera. Right. So Sean, have you figured out what you're gonna do? Okay. You have so many suggestions from Erin, Rap, Darla, and Aaron. Well, I also just thinking as well that yes. Okay. Sean, have you figured out what you can do?
Okay, figure out what I can do.
What do you think can you do?
Okay, so sometimes I'm just ignore her, but then when she gets too much, I'm gonna do what Iris gonna say.
So there. So if you notice, I really didn't give solutions. Yes, I suggested, but at the end, it's still the child's choice. I just basically just ask questions and offer space for them to discuss it. But this is a good session. They're nice to each other there. But there was a session when they were fighting with each other because these are kids with different conditions. So some of them have ADHD, some of them
Yeah.
have autism, and so there was one time, and of course there's the chat. So sometimes there was a session when we were talking, and then I saw that in the chat box that there were two kids fighting because the one with I won't say the names just so you understand. I'll just call this child a child with ADHD. Like she was very very playful, so she kept on teasing this another teen who's a teen with ADHD and another preteen with autism. And so, but the preteen with autism couldn't understand a joke and couldn't really. So for her, she felt like she was being roasted. So galit na siya. But for the preteen with ADHD, it was really just a friendly banter. So I had to ask them to stay behind after the session. And then they were talking to each other about the situation. They couldn't see each other's point, like they were really shouting and crying and they couldn't understand each other. So one of the things we did, but because of one of the things that we discussed and did after that is we figured out we have to understand each other, understand where which each of them is coming from, like what are the issues that this person cannot understand, because the child with ADHD can understand why the teen with autism cannot get a joke. For her parents, that is so weird. Why can't she understand that that's a joke? Tapos, yung preteen with autism couldn't understand naman na parang, why is she being so mean to me? Why can't she like regulate her behavior? She's shouting at me ganyan. So they couldn't really understand each other. So one of can I share another project that they did? Another thing that they did is I asked them to research their condition. Again, this is just me being a facilitator. Ask them to research their condition and then check their symptoms. So those are check the symptoms, which one relates to you.
Uh-huh.
Ayan. We notice, ayan, nakita nyo, these are the symptoms. This is
And
sometimes, yes, self-focused behavior sometimes, interrupting, yes, emotional turmoil, no, but she doesn't want to admit. We discussed that part, like unfinished tasks, on the stuff that I give up, yes. So yan, and then they have to present it in class. So their classmates can understand them also. So each of them, and then they talk about what they're working on. Because there's a reason why they're in therapy. And how can I work on it? This is just one of their slides, but each of them will have this just so they can learn to understand each other.
Okay. Thank you. I see the challenge, especially siguro no, if you have several kids. I think the more kids you have in a group, the more challenging it gets, especially if they have a myriad of conditions or they're all, di ba pag group meron dyang mga um, facilitating, dominating. No, pag
Yeah.
maraming dominating, siguro the constant challenge is to get them, on track.
Like you saw nga in the video, diba? We're focusing on something. Mamaya somebody says, "What do you think? Dogs or cats? What's better?" Okay, okay, let's go back to the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kasi
but yeah,
so,
yeah, you're
because of the audio too, no? Mas mahirap
yeah,
pag hindi I mean, literally face to face. So,
yes,
does the
you're
video conferencing app, work talaga
for
with
them.
Mhm.
Yes, but to answer your question, how different it is from actual to online. This class is a class of 10 to 12 kids initially. I had to break them up
Yeah, yeah.
because now it's kind of hard to handle them.
I'm
And then I used to
sure.
work with a speech therapist
I see.
also before, but now kasi she can't do also. She can't do the online therapy. So I had to manage this class. I had to break them up from 10. They had to be separate 4 and 5, 4 to 4 tas 5. Tapos depende sa level. Like those who are very advanced, they go together. Then I will have to check the skills. But it works. Yun nga, you have to know lang which kind the skills of the kids, which sinong kids, like you said nga, sinong kids yung pwede mag-work together. Sinong kids yung parang mas better together. So I had to group them talaga. Pero now, since we're on our third month, because they've been doing a lot of projects with us and they've been really good for the last few months, they want to work together na. So we started just on Friday. Siguro once a month we'll do that when they all come together and then they're working together on a certain project.
Yeah.
Mm, I
Okay.
understand. Kailangan okay yung match nila para complementary. They can
Yeah.
share the experiences or pwede nga po yung nangyayari din. One child will model kung ano expected behavior from the other child.
Yes, yes, yes. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be, yeah, you're right, Arden. It doesn't have to be the same skill because it's very important in a class so that you have an expert player, the
Mm-hmm.
one who leads everybody else, and then the other kids, and the other kids, okay lang then if there's somebody who's kind of, in terms of skill, lower skill than everybody else because napupol naman siya nung class. And the other kids who are good listeners or just there, yeah, is very interactive. Pero important yung expert player in the class and the kid also who's not as good as everybody else. Kasi, yeah, maganda, iba yung important yung group dynamics.
May group dynamics nila.
Yeah.
I agree, Karen. So I was wondering, is there a specific parang framework that we could use when we're doing group therapy?
Framework. Basically, one thing that's I'm very something that I use not just in group therapy, but usually in therapy in general. It's more of a child-centered approach. Lalo na on screen kasi it's kind of like Lee said, it's kind of difficult to hold their attention on screen. So it's very important that ako for me that I follow their lead, what they want, and then I expand on it because that's one thing to really hold their attention. um even in even in one-on-one therapy, if I just like dictate, I started with that, like dictating what to do in therapy. I had kids going under their beds and really not following, and sometimes turning off their videos on me. But when I moved to a more child-centered approach, really asking them to design the session, asking them, okay, what do you want to do next? Ganyan. And then just add my goals in the activity. That's really when I saw them participating more in therapy, being more compliant, being more engaged in the sessions. I'll share with you some of the projects that we've been doing because one of our goals during the start of the session, lalo na in teletherapy, is to really work on regulation. And a lot of their routines, di ba, disrupted. Some of them, hindi sila nakakatulog ng maayos, or they sleep late, they wake up early, and sometimes they feel bored that they don't have anything to do. The first thing that we did is for me in the classes, give them projects for a week para meron silang ginagawa. And then they submit it on Friday. They present it in class, then we talk about it. I'll share with you some of the projects of the kids. This is stop motion animation. 30 seconds lang yan, pero 4 na araw niya raw 'to ginawa. Ay, sandali, I have to turn off.
Oh, that's cute.
Mm. There. So, yes, they're able to do their own projects, but we're working on executive functions, diba? Task initiation, time management, planning and organization. This is another one. Um, this is done by this child with autism who couldn't understand a joke. And yung makikita mo rin dun sa work niya, na very concrete talaga siya mag-isip in terms of joke. Diba? Ganun yan yung joke niya. Okay. And then last thing, we talk about Black Lives Matter in one of the discussion, and they were really, really affected by it. So there was this one time where we just discuss it and talk about it and express their feelings. But also when they're more regulated and they're calmer, we talk about what can we do about it? Is there anything we can do to help in the situation? Any small thing. So I didn't know some of them are YouTubers. So they made their own videos. Meron silang eto, one of my patient, meron siyang sarili niyang peace message. Ayan. I asked permission from the dad if I can show. Maiksi lang to.
Guys, here's my peace message. Although we are different skin colors, black, beige, yellow, or brown, we are one human race.
Oh,
Oh.
Guys, here's my
Ay,
peace
sorry.
message.
cute.
So,
And he has subscribers, huh?
yes, yes.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so thanks for sharing those. I'm sure nakakakuha na ng ideas ang ating mga viewers ngayon, no? What activities can they give? Actually, nagustuhan ko yung suggestion mo, Karen, about giving them like a task for a week that they do for a week and then you discuss it at the end. So it keeps them occupied kasi especially now, no school. No school.
Yeah.
So it keeps them
Actually, now,
occupied.
nag-progress na kami kasi ang galing nila sa weekly projects. Meron kaming monthly project.
Wow.
Like we did art kasi we're joining an art competition, online art competition. And so meron silang monthly project. They work on piece and the competition more of on piece. So they work on several
Oh.
art pieces, and
Wow.
then tapos from the art piece they'll have to check which is the best one, because they can only submit one.
Uh-huh.
So so from the art pieces na ginawa nila throughout the whole month, they'll have to choose the best one and then submit that.
Very
And
nice.
then yeah. So you progress talaga. So and now that they're good with working independently on their own projects now for the last 3 months, yeah. So now we're doing group work now where they're able to work together and work with each other.
Okay. Siguro, I'm wondering, no? So, how is documentation done? Kasi in the past episode, some of the therapists described, no, how they write intervention notes and how they send it to the client or the parents kapag child. How different is it with group therapy?
Yeah. Initially what I did was like I just made one note for all the parents in the class. And then but I realized I had to talk about the condition and the behavior of the other kids na hindi naman pertinent to their child. So I did it like once or twice, and then after that I stopped na. So I would give individual notes to the parents. Same lang, I'll put my goals and how my observations, how their child responded, and then I'll send it out individually to the parents. If ever meron behavior na pertinent to their child na the other kid did, yun lang ilalagay ko. But they don't know about everybody, yung the other things that the other kids are doing.
Okay. So it helps to, for example, to create like a general template muna that you just individually modify. Parang ganun. Is it?
I actually, for me, it's I have goals. Even if it's a group therapy, I have individual goals for the kid. And so even my notes are individualized. It's not, I don't use a group template because
Mhm.
the goal for each kid is still different. Yes, they have the same activities, but the goal for each kid is different. So it's the same as group setting, like OT notes. Like I have goals for each kid and activities and observation. And it's different. Yeah, different for each child. Talaga.
Okay.
And really nice kanina, Karen, I saw na your kids in the group are doing projects on YouTube. They have PowerPoint slides. So I was wondering then, what are the equipments or technology or maybe softwares and applications that you use during your group therapy?
Actually, yung mga kids ko yung nagtuturo sa akin ng mga applications. Hindi ata. Sila kasi yung mahilig sa animation eh. So there was
Oo.
one session when,
I'm
because
Mhm.
not
there are
like
also times when they teach their classmates what to do. So there was a time when we use Scratch app. It's an application where you learn how to use an app. So this child, the one who made the Morph Legos, tinuruan niya yung mga classmates niya how to use Scratch app. They're teaching their classmates how to use Flip a Clip. It's this animation software where you can create animations. We're doing digital art with Sketch or Adobe Sketch. And then they're teaching me also. Mas ano sila, mas tech savvy nga sila kesa sa akin. Um,
Mhm.
you were using board games. Ngayon pala may board games na online.
Oh,
So
wow.
so we're doing Uno online with
I
everybody there.
bet
And then
ko
even
yan.
computer games. Yeah, we're able to. I forgot. It's a murder mystery. I forgot the app. It's a murder mystery, but online game th- that we're able to all log in and play together.
Wow. As
Yeah,
free?
free. I forgot the name. So
Wow.
I'm not the techie one. I
We're
usually
learning.
ask them, what
We're
do you
learning
think can
from the
we what
kid.
can we do? Mas sila yung techie.
Oo nga,
So
oo nga.
Sila na
yun.
yung nakaka-discover kung ano yung gusto nilang laruin and explore. So,
Yeah,
talagang
and
limitless.
Ako,
now with technology.
na-curious ako, related sa question ni Arden, no? Kasi there are many video conferencing apps now na talagang gamit na gamit. Siguro to name a few, there will be Zoom, Facebook Messenger video
Yeah.
conferencing. You have your Google Meet, you have Microsoft Teams. What do you use and what do you find parang the best for group therapy kung kids yung
Yeah, I use Zoom kasi mas in terms of privacy setting, mas secure yung Zoom. Actually, what I do pa nga, when there were times na yung privacy is in question, until now, I would change the meeting password and the ID every week just so it's more secure para nobody comes in.
Mhm.
And then make sure that you lock the meeting if everybody's there just to
Okay.
protect the security of the kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kasi
But
hindi
you
secure
record,
yung iba
no?
eh. We don't, I record when, I ask permission for their parents to record sometimes. Pero not all the time. Not all the time that I record the session.
Alright. Sige. Siguro ito last dun sa set namin ng prepared questions. So,
Yeah.
how involved are caregivers in group therapy? Or
Mm.
how much involvement do you allow?
Actually, these kids kasi are preteens to teens already. So they want their independence. So some of them would ask their parents to leave the room during therapy because it's sometimes they feel that it's like a hangout with their peers and they don't want their parents there. But of course, yung mga and I've seen these kids because most of them have been with me for like 5 years or more. So I have established relationship with their parents. So they allow that. But I have like one child na bago pa, like 1 year pa lang into therapy. So she's allowed to stay there, pero she's not seen. Like she's there in the room, ganyan, pero she's not seen by the other classmates and the other students. Also kasi with this group, I give them talaga chance to sort out things on their own. So sometimes, like, even if when they fight, as much as possible, I only get involved when I really need to get involved. But most of the time, I let them resolve their issues. And if the parents are there, kasi sometimes, diba, they can't meddle in. So for this class, I communicate with the parents after the session. Like, I I send them OT notes right after, mga
Mhm.
around 1 to 2 days after. And then I communicate with them via Messenger or Viber. Tapos pag may incident talaga, like, so, yun nga, nagpo-fight, that's when I talk. That's when I communicate to the parents talaga right away.
Mhm. Oh, thank you. Um, we'll have siguro we'll have 5 to 10 minutes for questions from the audience. We already have one, so Arden is gonna ask that one. But may I remind you, audience, so if you have questions for Karen, please message si host. Ano? Questions host. Ano ang pangalan ni Charlie dito? Question
Sean.
host. Ayan. Yeah, please send a message to Charlie, okay? Sige. Karen, game na ba tayo? Questions from the
Okay,
audience.
go.
Okay.
Mm. So Karen, we received one question from the audience. He was asking how long does a group session with around 4 to 5 members last in telehealth?
Yeah, depende sa skill. Like I told you, di ba, I have advanced students and probably intermediate students. Yung advanced students, sila na yung nakakapag 1 month project. So I stay with them, like, our session is for 1.5 hours. My kids, same age range, 8 to 14, but sila yung parang weekly projects pa lang yung kaya nila. And then they're kind of new. This is a new group. Parang they've been working together for like 1 to 2 years pa lang. Some of the members of the team bago pa lang din, mga 1 hour lang. So I would gauge depende sa skill level, capability ng mga kids. Pero at least 1 hour pag group session. And then
Mhm.
you have to give time for documentation. Kasi isa-isa, like, you'll have to provide documentation for each child. So that's after pa the session.
Mhm. And then Karen, after the documentation, regularly you mentioned earlier na merong Viber or parang video call with the parents. Is it regular then on a weekly basis after the session?
So most of these patients kasi I've been seeing for like 5 years. So at that
Mhm.
point, 5 or more years. So sanay na sila sa therapy and they understand what the issues of their children are. So as needed, but at least once a
Ah,
month,
okay.
I communicate with the parents.
Mhm.
Mhm.
See, okay. We have another question. If do these children still attend one-on-one session with you, or is the group session okay already for some children? Parang group.
Sila kasi yung mga, alam mo, yung lumaki na sa therapy. Yung 4 years old pa lang, 5 years old pa lang, ando na. Tapos mag-high school na. Most of them are in high school now.
I see.
And yeah, so sila yung nag-progress through therapy. So sila talaga yung just here for group sessions na lang.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Then may isa pa tayong question.
Yes, we have one more question. So, one of our participants is asking, do the students present their works during the telehealth session or they just submit it?
They present their works during the telehealth session. Tapos, they talk about it. Yun nga, if it's a PowerPoint presentation, then they have to report it. If it's just an animation, then they just show it to their classmates. And then they find it nice when they rate their classmates' works. They rate each other's works. They give feedback to each other. And sometimes, if the feedback is a nice, sometimes we do a project.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mm,
let's see what will happen if you refine your projects this week, and then let's see how it is next week. Ganyan.
Okay. I see. All right. Teka, meron pa ba tayong question? May hahabol pa ba? Pero it's very nice. May, habang naghihintay tayo ng audience question, naisip ko talaga before, parang na-imagine ko, no, kung gaano ka-challenging mag-group therapy. Kasi, well, for us now that we're just starting to do telehealth more regularly, it's quite challenging at the beginning. dealing with the technology, dealing with the things that you cannot, really touch,
Mhm.
Kasi ang daling mag-body language pagkaharap mo talaga yung client. But now it relies so much into the audio and the video component. Tapos, it times, ano mo sila, 4 times 6, no? It's really challenging, no? So, in a week, Karen, how many group sessions do you get to handle in a week?
I handle like two group sessions in a week. Pero
Okay.
that's around four patients in one class and
Uh-huh.
then five
Mhm.
patients in another class. And I agree with you. Sometimes it's challenging. Like initially, lalo na because I also have patients who are new to therapy, like 1 year pa lang a year pa lang in therapy, or
Uh-huh.
they've stopped therapy and they had to go back because they have certain issues. Like I have a kid who was actually depressed, or who had ADHD,
Yeah.
and then in the school setting, she felt she was bullied, so her classmates didn't
Mhm.
like her. So when she came to therapy, she had so many issues. So
Mm-hmm.
ngayon in group, but somehow na-resolve naman yun. Like she felt she has no friends. She talks about yung mga animation niya, because a lot of my kids really love animation and that's how they express themselves. Yung mga animation niya, nagpapakamatay, or mm, namatay yung animation niya kasi ni-run over ng mga friends niya. Her
Yeah.
animations basically
Oh.
show what she's
Mhm.
feeling inside. Like her friends are ganging up on her, that she felt like, yeah, like that. So this child, when she goes to therapy, she's seeking attention. If-flood niya yung chat box namin, or sometimes we're talking and then what she does is she'll have a computer app na magto-talk also, pero paulit-ulit, paulit-ulit. So it can be irritating. But again, I think very important for therapists to use of self, and then understand, why is this child doing this? Where is she coming from? So I understand, she wants attention because she really doesn't have a set of friends, and she wants everybody in the group to just like give that attention to her. And it's like, no, because you understand that when I gave her the attention that she needed, all this behavior, dahan-dahan,
Yeah.
it stopped. So I guess that's it, really, really understanding your kids and why they're doing what they're doing.
Thank you. Oh, we have siguro one last question from the audience,
Okay.
no? Oh, ano nga ba ito? Wait lang. Ayan. So, do you include note-taking within the session? Or because of the number of students, these are sent to follow?
No, you can't, you don't, you won't have time for note taking during the session. It's really
Uh,
after the session.
okay.
Mhm.
So, I guess that's it. Thank
Okay.
Karen, thank you so much for sharing with us your experiences and your fun videos. And the
Mhm.
kids, they seem to be really fun people to hold a session with. Yan.
Thank
So,
you so much for the
so much.
invite.
Arden, bibigay ko muna ng floor kay Arden for some insights about this talakayan.
Okay, thank you, Lee, and thank you, Karen. I learned a lot from this session today. Nakakatuwa. Indeed nga, ang take home ko dito, yung last phrase na sinabi mo, yung it's about what they are doing and why they are doing what they're doing. So, minsan kasi nakakalimutan natin pag group session na naka-structure na siya. Na this is the goal, this is what we'll do. So, ang take home ko for today would be really having the check-in and take it from there. So, from the check-in, we could have group projects. During this session, I have to be a facilitator and make it a safe space, a comfortable space for the participants of the group session. And from there, children will share their experiences and then we will give feedback as the facilitator. So it's really nice. Looking forward to the group sessions that I will have. So thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Arden. Ako naman, sige, ako may dagdag din, no? Parang, sometimes, because we're, again, still getting used to this platform, we plan it so much to the point that we can be a little controlling, no? OTs, minsan nangyayari sa atin, we want things structured. But again, Karen reminds us of being child-centered And that will constantly challenge us to think on our toes, no? Be very sensitive to the responses of the clients that we have, especially in a group, and upgrade or downgrade as needed during the session. And that will really be very client-centered, child-centered. And so, thank you again, Karen, for joining us. Thank you, everyone. We have about 34 participants now, pero I'm sure yung iba dito manonood ng replay sa rerun sa ating YouTube channel. So, plug lang ako ng konti. On Thursday, that's, anong date nga yan? Ayan, June 18. Thursday, 4:30 p.m. will be the last OTalakayan for Telehealth. No? That's episode 13. My God, naka 13 episodes na tayo on Telehealth. What's exciting is that Carla Cuerva will be talking about hand therapy for pediatric clients. O, diba? So, something to look forward to this Thursday, 4:30 p.m. The following week, iba na yung topics natin, hindi lang telehealth. So, watch out for our PubMats. So, just a reminder for those audience na nanood ngayon, nasa YouTube channel natin ito, accessible to lifetime, regular, and student members. So kung ma-miss nyo man tong episode, pati yung sa Thursday, makikita nyo yan sa ating YouTube channel, available till the end of the month. Okay, so once again, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you, Arden. And thank you, Arden.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Karen.